The bride laughed as the last man closed the hotel room door behind him. She fixed her lipstick in the mirror, straightened her white satin dress, and whispered to herself, "No one will ever know." At that exact moment, the lights flickered, the air turned icy cold, and something fell from the sky outside the hotel window, something that would destroy her lies forever. Emily Carter was the kind of woman people admired instantly. At 27, she had flawless skin, soft brown hair that fell perfectly over her shoulders, and a smile that made everyone feel safe. She worked as an event planner in San Diego, California, and ironically, she was famous for organizing perfect weddings. And now it was her turn. Her wedding to Daniel Brooks, a kind, loyal software engineer, was only 3 days away. Daniel trusted Emily with his whole heart. He had never checked her phone, never questioned her late nights, never doubted her love. And Emily knew that. That was why she believed she could get away with everything. The first man was a bartender named Kyle. Tall, confident, dangerous smile. When he leaned close and said, "Bride-to-be, huh?" Emily laughed nervously. "One drink won't hurt," she told herself. One drink became 3. 3 became touching. Touching became something she would later pretend never happened. When Kyle left the room, Emily stared at the door for a moment. Her heart beat fast. Instead of guilt, she felt thrill. And that was when everything changed. The second man was Mark, a dancer hired as a joke. The third was Ethan, a friend of a friend who just stopped by. Each time, Emily crossed another line. Each time, she told herself, "Daniel will never find out." The laughter grew louder. The music grew darker. The room smelled of alcohol and sin. But no one noticed the strange thing happening outside. At exactly 2:17 a.m., a loud crash echoed from the street below. Guests screamed. Rachel ran to the window. "Oh my God," she whispered. Someone fell. Emily walked slowly toward the glass. On the sidewalk below lay a man. But not just any man. His clothes were torn. His back was bleeding. And on his shoulder was something impossible. A burned mark shaped like wings. Emily felt dizzy. A strange voice whispered in her head, "Your choices have been seen." She staggered backward. That was when the fourth man knocked on the door. His name was Lucas. Quiet, calm, almost unsettling. Unlike the others, Lucas didn't drink, didn't flirt loudly, didn't smile. He looked directly into Emily's eyes and said softly, "Are you happy with your choices tonight?" Emily laughed nervously. "You sound like my conscience." Lucas stepped closer. "No," he said. "I sound like your warning." The air turned heavy. The music stopped on its own. Emily's phone buzzed. A message from Daniel. "I miss you. I can't wait to marry you." Her hands shook. And still, she made her choice. The next morning, news spread fast. A mysterious man had fallen from the sky and survived. Doctors were confused. Police had no explanation. Emily tried to forget everything. She showered. She packed. She smiled. But as she left the hotel lobby, she froze. Sitting on a bench was the same man from the sidewalk. Clean clothes. Bandaged back. Calm eyes. "Lucas." He stood up. "Our paths aren't done," he said. Emily's heart dropped into her stomach. "Who are you?" she whispered. Lucas looked toward the sky and answered quietly. "Someone said to remind you that truth always collects its debt." Emily walked away, but she could feel him behind her. Watching. Waiting. And somewhere far away, Daniel Brooks was about to discover a truth that would shatter his world. Emily Carter stood in front of the mirror in her wedding dress. White. Pure. Innocent. But as she stared at her reflection, she saw blood on her hands, even though there was none. And behind her reflection, someone else was standing there. Emily screamed and spun around. No one was there. Her heart pounded so hard she thought she would faint. "It's just stress," she whispered. "I'm just nervous." But the mirror cracked just slightly. Emily stepped back. A voice echoed in her mind. "A wedding built on lies does not stand." She grabbed her phone and called Rachel. Rachel, something is wrong, Emily said, her voice shaking. Rachel laughed. Relax. You're getting married today. But Emily didn't feel like a bride. She felt like someone about to be judged. Across town, Daniel Brooks adjusted his tie nervously. He smiled as he looked at a framed photo of Emily on his desk. She's perfect, he told his best man, Chris Miller. Chris hesitated. You sure you're ready? Daniel laughed. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Daniel had no idea that while he was choosing lifelong loyalty, Emily had already broken it 4 times. And fate was preparing to show him the truth. Guests filled the church. Soft music played. White flowers lined the aisle. Then the doors opened. Emily stepped inside. Gasps filled the room. She was beautiful. But only one person wasn't looking at her dress. A man sat in the last row. Quiet. Still. Lucas. No one else seemed to notice him. Emily's breath caught. Why is he here? She thought. Lucas met her eyes. And nodded. As if to say, this is your last chance. The priest began. Do you, Emily Carter, take Daniel Brooks? Emily's mouth went dry. Her heart screamed no, but her lips whispered. Yes. The moment she spoke, the church lights flickered. A baby began to cry. A window rattled. Emily felt something cold brush her hand. Then it happened. A voice echoed through the church. Stop. Everyone froze. Heads turned. Lucas stood up. Daniel frowned. Who is this guy? Emily's legs shook. Lucas walked slowly toward the altar. This marriage cannot continue, he said calmly. Murmurs filled the room. Security rushed forward, but the doors slammed shut on their own. Emily screamed. Make him leave. Lucas looked at her, not angry, not cruel. Just disappointed. You invited me, he said softly. With every lie you told. Lucas turned to Daniel. Ask her about the bachelorette party. Emily cried. He's lying. He's insane. Daniel hesitated. Emily, he asked gently. What is he talking about? Emily shook her head violently. Lucas raised his hand. The air changed. Suddenly, the church walls showed images. A hotel room. Champagne bottles. Emily with Kyle. Gasps turned into screams. Daniel staggered backward. Emily, he whispered. Tears streamed down her face. It meant nothing, she cried. I love you. Lucas spoke again. That was only the first. More images appeared. Mark. Ethan. Lucas himself, standing at the door, watching. Daniel dropped to his knees. Guests rushed out. Rachel fainted. Emily screamed louder than anyone. Stop. Please. Lucas lowered his hand. The visions disappeared. Silence filled the church. Daniel stood up slowly. His voice broke. Was any of it real? He asked. Emily reached for him. I swear I. Daniel stepped back. Don't touch me. Those 4 words hurt more than any punishment. Someone shouted, Who are you? Lucas finally answered. I was not meant to fall, he said quietly. But I did, when she crossed her final line. He turned to Emily. I am not here to punish, he said. I am here to balance. Emily collapsed to the floor. What does that mean? She sobbed. Lucas looked toward Daniel. It means the truth will cost her everything she took for granted. Daniel removed the ring from his finger. He placed it on the altar. This wedding is over, he said. Emily screamed. Her parents cried. Guests whispered. But Lucas wasn't done. He leaned toward Emily and whispered something only she could hear. This was mercy. Her blood ran cold. If this is mercy, she whispered, what is punishment? Lucas looked at her one last time. You'll find out, he said. And then, he vanished. That night, Emily received a call from the hospital. A voice said, Ma'am, the man who fell from the sky is missing. And outside Emily's window, wings burned into the pavement. Emily Carter woke up screaming. Her wedding ring was back on her finger. But when she looked closer, the ring was burning her skin. Emily jumped out of bed, gasping for air. The church. The guests. Daniel's broken eyes. It was a nightmare, she whispered. Her phone rang. Caller ID, Daniel Brooks' red heart. Relief washed over her. Daniel, she cried. I had the worst dream. His voice was cold. Don't ever call me again. The line went dead. Emily stared at the phone. The ring burned hotter. She screamed and threw it across the room. The moment it hit the floor, it vanished. That was when Emily realized this wasn't over. Emily went outside. San Diego looked the same, but the people didn't. Neighbors whispered. Phones were raised. Eyes followed her. Her face was everywhere. Bride exposed at wedding. Cheating scandal turned supernatural. Angel or illusion? She lost her job that afternoon. Her boss didn't even look at her. You're bad for business, he said. Emily walked out with a box in her arms. Each step felt heavier, as if something unseen was watching her fall. Daniel moved out that night. He didn't scream, didn't post online, didn't explain. He simply disappeared. Emily went to his apartment. Empty. She sat on the floor and sobbed. I'll fix this, she whispered. That was when the lights turned off. A familiar voice filled the room. You already chose what couldn't be fixed. Lucas stood in the doorway. No injuries. No bandages. Just calm. Emily fell to her knees. Please, she begged. I'll tell the truth. I'll confess to everyone. Lucas shook his head. You already did, he said. Then why is this still happening? She cried. Lucas stepped closer. Because confession without repentance is just fear. Emily looked up. What do you want from me? Lucas answered slowly. I want you to feel what you erased. Lucas snapped his fingers. The room changed. Emily was suddenly sitting in Daniel's place at the altar. She looked up. Daniel stood in her wedding dress. His eyes were full of hope. Emily felt his love. Then the images appeared. Her cheating. Her lies. She felt Daniel's heartbreak inside her own chest. She screamed. Stop. Lucas watched quietly. You took loyalty lightly, he said. Now you will carry its weight. The vision vanished. Emily collapsed. Her chest ached like it had been torn open. Emily went to her parents' house. Her mother hugged her at first. Then she pulled away. Did you really do all those things? She asked. Emily nodded. Her father turned his back. We raised you better, he said. Her mother cried. I don't recognize you anymore. Emily left in silence. Family gone. That night, Emily dreamed again. She stood in a dark room. 4 doors appeared. Each door showed one man. Kyle. Mark. Ethan. Lucas. Behind each door was pain. Lucas's voice echoed. You didn't just betray one man. You shattered 4 lives, including your own. Each door slammed shut. Emily woke up screaming. Blood trickled from her nose. The punishment was no longer only emotional. Across the city, Daniel sat alone. Lucas appeared beside him. You are not being punished, Lucas said. Daniel looked up. Then why does this hurt so much? Lucas answered softly. Because love leaves scars even when it was real. Daniel clenched his fists. Will she suffer forever? Lucas met his eyes. No, he said. Only until she understands. Daniel swallowed. And me? Lucas smiled faintly. You will rise from this. Lucas returned to Emily one last time that night. You are running out of chances, he said. Emily's voice was weak. I'm sorry, she whispered. For everything. Lucas studied her. Sorry is the beginning, he said. Not the end. He faded away, leaving one sentence in the air. The final lesson comes when you are most alone. Emily's phone buzzed. Unknown number. A text appeared. Meet me where it all began. Attached was a photo. The hotel. The bachelorette party room. Emily dropped the phone. Her punishment wasn't finished. It was about to become physical. Emily Carter stood in front of the hotel room door. The same room. The same number. And from inside, she could hear laughter. Emily's hands trembled as she reached for the handle. This isn't real, she whispered. But the hallways smelled exactly the same. Perfume, alcohol, and regret. She pushed the door open. The room was alive. Music played. Lights flashed. Champagne bottles stood on the table. And there she was. Another Emily. Laughing. Drinking. Dancing. Emily backed away in horror. I'm not like that anymore, she cried. Lucas's voice echoed behind her. You were, he said. And pretending otherwise is why you're here. The other Emily turned and looked straight at her. Same face. Same smile. But empty eyes. You enjoyed it, the double said. Don't lie now. Emily screamed. I was weak. I made mistakes. The double laughed. Mistakes? She mocked. You planned it. Emily fell to her knees. The room shook. The laughter stopped. The door slammed shut. Kyle appeared first. You said it didn't matter, he said calmly. Then Mark. You said your fiancé was boring. Ethan stepped forward. You said you deserved better. Emily covered her ears. Stop. I didn't mean any of it. Lucas appeared last. Silent. Watching. Emily crawled toward him. Why were you there? She sobbed. Why were you the fourth? Lucas answered quietly. Because someone had to witness your last chance. The room went dark. Only Lucas remained. I was sent to protect the covenant of marriage, he said. To intervene when betrayal crossed into destruction. Emily looked up. So I'm being punished? Lucas shook his head. No, he said. You're being tested. He knelt in front of her. Your sin wasn't desire, he continued. It was deception. Emily's tears soaked the floor. I destroyed everything, she whispered. Lucas nodded. Yes, he said. But destruction is not the same as damnation. The room split in two. On one side, Daniel alone, rebuilding his life. On the other, Emily, walking forward alone forever. Lucas spoke. You can continue denying who you were, or accept responsibility without expecting forgiveness. Emily's voice shook. If I choose the second, you will lose the life you imagined, Lucas said. But you may gain a soul that survives. Emily closed her eyes. For the first time, she didn't defend herself. I accept, she said softly. No excuses. No lies. The room went silent. The visions vanished. Emily collapsed onto the hotel carpet. The door opened. Morning sunlight poured in. Lucas stood at the window. You will carry the memory, he said. But not the chains. Emily looked up. Will Daniel ever forgive me? Lucas paused. That is not yours to decide. He stepped backward. The wind rushed in. And Lucas was gone. Weeks passed. Emily moved away from San Diego. She took a simple job. No social media. No lies. She volunteered at a shelter. Listened more than she spoke. She didn't chase forgiveness. She lived with truth. Daniel stood on a beach months later. Stronger. Calmer. Lucas appeared one final time. She chose accountability, Lucas said. Daniel nodded. I hope she finds peace. Lucas smiled. You already have. The wind lifted. Lucas disappeared forever. 1 year later, Emily received a letter. No return address. Inside were 4 words. You learned the lesson. And a feather fell from the envelope. Emily Carter held the feather in her shaking hands. It was warm. And for the first time in a year, she felt seen, not judged. Emily sat at her small kitchen table. The apartment was quiet. No luxury. No mirrors screaming guilt. She unfolded the letter again. You learned the lesson. That was all it said. No threats. No punishment. No commands. Just truth. Emily pressed the feather between her palms and closed her eyes. I'm listening, she whispered. Emily was not the woman she used to be. She woke early. She worked honestly. She apologized without defending herself. At the shelter, people trusted her because she never pretended to be perfect. When asked about her past, she didn't hide. I broke something sacred, she would say. And I live better now because I remember that. There were no miracles. Just consistency. And that was enough. Daniel Brooks lived in Santa Barbara now. He taught coding to underprivileged kids. He laughed more. Loved cautiously. One evening, while cleaning old emails, he found a message Emily had written but never sent. I don't expect forgiveness. I only hope you heal. Daniel closed his laptop. He looked out at the ocean. And finally, truly, forgave her. Not for her sake. For his. On a quiet night, Emily dreamed again. But this time, there was no fear. Lucas stood under a sky full of stars. "You were never meant to suffer forever," he said. "Only long enough to understand." Emily asked, "Why did you fall?" Lucas smiled gently. "Because even angels must step into darkness to guide others out." Emily felt peace wash over her. "Was it worth it?" she asked. Lucas looked toward the horizon. "It always is." Emily woke up. The feather was gone. But on her nightstand was a ring. Not a wedding ring. A plain silver band engraved with one word: truth. She slipped it on. It didn't burn. Years later, Emily told her story publicly. Not for fame. For warning. "Love isn't about desire," she said. "It's about respect when no one is watching." The video went viral. Thousands commented. Some angry. Some grateful. But many said, "This stopped me from making the same mistake." Somewhere unseen, wings stirred. Emily stood on the same beach where Daniel once stood. She watched the sunset. She didn't wish for the past. She honored the lesson. And somewhere beyond sight, an angel finally rose back into the sky. Emily lost a wedding. Lost a dream. Lost a future she imagined. But she gained something rarer. Integrity. Accountability. Truth. And that changed everything. Comment below. Do you believe people can truly change? And if this story made you reflect, don't scroll away. Like this video to support meaningful storytelling. Subscribe for stories that teach, not just entertain.